Today I'm going to be building, as I was saying, a table made out of reused materials from my house. All of the wood being used today is from previous projects, which means I'm going to be sanding and unscrewing certain things from it. Like there's still screws in certain boards that I'm going to be using. There is holes already in certain boards that I'm going to be using. And there's paint and other things. I'm going to be resizing them with my tools today. I will be using a circular saw for power tools along with my power screwdriver and my sander. I have a clamp, a square, a measure tape, a Sharpie, and if for one reason or another a box cutter. Always wear gloves and ear protection just in case. Plans, which you don't need nice looking plans. They can literally be squares. It works out just fine. But we're going to take the original table that I made not too long ago, probably about 3 or 4 months ago. We're taking the dimensions from that, and we're going to be using the same design, same dimensions. The wood that we're going to be using is a little bit different because I don't have any more 2x4 wood except for like a small bit, which I'm going to be using for the main structural component. This stuff that's going to be taking on the biggest and heaviest load, so the side beams. And then we're going to be using this 2x2 for the rest of it, which I think is a really good choice. And hopefully, I know that it's going to work out because I did some research. My research being, I checked online beforehand to see how much weight this 2x2 wood versus the 2x4 wood could hold. And the reason why I did that was because I'm going to be putting a terrarium on this new table. I'm going to be taking my old table, which was specifically made for a fish tank of mine, and I'm going to be putting the fish tank back on, and I'm going to need this new table for my terrarium. I'm going to put it on either side of our TV living room. I'm just so excited to be doing this right now. So, I'm going to get started. Oh, I see some people. Ah, hello. Oh, hey, appreciate it. So first we're going to start with the side pieces. And yes, I don't have an actual table. This is a chair, a metal frame chair with a piece of flatboard on it as my table. So don't you worry, if you guys don't think that you can't do a project because you don't have the necessary tools, just get crazy with it and make out what you think is right. And we're going to start measuring out what we need. It's going to be 17 inches. Now my other plan, are actually 14 inches, but again, because I'm going to be using 2x4, I have to make the design just a little bit different. Now we're going to pick the side with the better, the more structurally sound and less damage on the wood. Because as you can see, like I said, because this is repurposed wood, you're going to have holes and you're going to have nicks and imperfections on here, and it's going to make it look like a little bit nicer. So, look, you're going to see that this side looks better. Put it down. It's just not going to be as nice. You're going to have a wobble most likely from when you start putting things together. So just try your best to make it as straight a line as possible. Because it's repurposed, literally that all the wood that I have are being used. Like, no joke, super cool that I was able to find a piece this long. Because now I can actually get the last two pieces out of this board that's really hard. I'm thankful that it's just a little bit longer because at the end here, of course, I broke one of the screw heads off of here, and it'd be so dang hard to get it out. Ugh. Hi to the new people! So, we're going to cut off the portion with the middle bit that's still inside of it. We're going to take the portion that, of course, doesn't have as many imperfections in it. We're going to mark 17 inches, which is what we're going to use it as our stable support boards. And then we're going to start our cuts. For a little added stability when we do our cuts, and you don't have to do this, but I like to because it makes me feel secure. We're going to use our clamp. And then we're going to get a circular saw. Yes, mine is a little bit more fancy because it's an electrical one. And you're able to take the battery in and out. Use a cable one. They're cheaper. But if you can scrounge up a little bit more money, Ryobi is a great, like, I call it an at-home project instead of, a professional use one. Like DeWalt or Milwaukee. It's not as expensive. This thing was $60. I'm very happy with it. Oh, thank God I remember before I went. See, this is what happens when you start talking too much. And yes, I'm going to keep talking because I love to do that. But if you talk too much, you'll forget. Hey, you need to size this the correct size. There we go. Took my battery out. Because even though there's a very small chance that I'll actually nick myself, we're not taking that chance to lose fingers today, folks. And we're going to start it up. And don't you dare tell me my battery's dead. Oh, you piece of gum. I'll be right back. Don't worry, I had a backup battery. delectable sauce, that's okay. Just take your finger off the sugar, pull it out, and try again. This is another reason why I don't like having workshop tables, because I feel like they're just so delicate. If I nick it, I'm screwed. With a piece of ply or chipboard like this, I don't fear that. It can be brutally mutilated, and I do not fear. Which means that I need you running. I need you to the end, so the rest of the blade can come out. Or I need to make my blade shorter, so it only is touching the wood. I'm opting for moving it to the end like this because I know the support is secure enough. And I don't have to worry about changing my blade because I'm lazy like that. Alright, now we have our 4 pieces of end here. Which means that these pieces, which is going to be the side walls of my table, are now done. And I gotta work on the rest of the body, which is all gonna be made out of these 2x2s. Or these smaller boards. I'm gonna go ahead and measure out the next pieces, which are going to be 19 inches a piece for the sides, and then we'll move on to the side, which should also be 17 inches. Now, I need to just make sure that I have 4 pieces of whole piece of three. Larger than 48. It's an eighth of an inch off. Okay. You know what? I'll just sand that piece off. I'm not going to try and cut it and then mess up my mark. If you're worried about cutting something a little bit too short, I would rather it be a little bit longer than too short. So you can just sand off and then use whatever, shaving off the leather that you do instead of messing around and taking too much. This piece, actually all of this wood, came from a compost bin / bunny run / passion fruit hanger. What are they called? Trellis. There we go. That I made. I made all 3 of those things last year. It's actually very addictive for me to use and reuse stuff. Because I don't know about you, but the thought of saving money by just redoing a project or reusing stuff around the house, I'm like, I just saved $200 just by taking this wood and making it something different. It's the best dang thing ever. Reusing mason jars, or building things in your home that you know cause like, oh gosh. And finally, the desired piece that I think cost like $200 or $300, or even $40, and then you see, oh cow, I have these things at home that I can make it with, and I'm actually skilled enough through a lot of trial and error. I've messed up a lot. But I'm skilled enough to make this thing now. I think I'm gonna do it. And I don't have to spend the money. And I in my brain, I have saved thousands of dollars. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. I need to go get a little screwdriver head or Phillips for that. I'll be right back. Double check and make sure this fits. If it's too big. Well, I guess let me see if it really truly matters to me. Oh, it's actually under 40 inches. I think we use this for something else, so about the rest of you? 8. 3.5. So I need to cut this middle board down. These two are good. Need to cut this one down to size, and then it'll be good to go for our 4 other pieces. I love it when things just work out. You know? Everything is going so smoothly. And I know it's because I did 30 minutes of prep before time, like I got all my tools out, got all the wood out, and it really does make a difference. Big old crack. I really wanted to use this side of it. Big old crack in there. What a bummer. Alright. Boards for 4 feet. Woo! Alright. Now that we have that, now we want that. Next, completely derailed. Bugger. So we'll make this a 5 feet. Cut it down to 17. Okay. Yes. 48 piece. 3, maybe 4. Actually use my brain. I have 4 19s, I need 6 17s for the frames. And then I have my 4 2x4 17 inches. Okay. So yeah, just need 4 more boards. That should be it. Nope. Four more boards. Way too many. I'm going to try and stay within this kind of boarding as much as possible. It's just better that way. Shorter. This is what happens sometimes. Just make mistakes and you keep moving forward. Lame. For me in the future, or others, I cut that piece 3 inches shorter than I needed it to be. That's such a bummer. I looked at 14 and I said, ah, yes, that's 17. Okay, 17, 17. Alright. That's just gonna bother me for a hot minute. Alright. 4 pieces of 19. 6 pieces of 17. Plus 4 more pieces of 17. Ugh. Oh, there's the shot. I knew it was going to be fun. And then 4 pieces of 4 feet. There we go. And that is going to be the structure of this situation. Let's see. What is the time? It's only been 30 minutes. I can keep going. The next portion is going to be So what I'm going to be using next is a sander to get the paint off of these boards. And you're going to be using a different kind of grit for whatever fits your purpose. Like this is going to be a 60 grit. And for Ryobi, they have this really nice little indicator on the back and on the packaging that tells you what kind of grit you're going to need and what it is used for. The smaller the number, the higher power the grit. So we're going to take this, slap it on, and rip the paint off of this board. Now, I would suggest using the wood shavings catcher for this, but because I'm outside, I'm not going to. Not a lot of time, and it took off so much paint. That's why you use such harsh grit. And then you use the higher grit to smooth it out. But right now, again, we're just going to take this paint off, and then we'll smooth it out. I guess that's all we're gonna do for now, folks. Need to redo my batteries, and after they get charged, I'll do some more. But other than that, I hope everybody has a good day. All right, bye.